Welcome back. Well, yes, continuing on the state of the nation, we'll have to go over now to our Abuja studios where Max Gbanite joins us now, strategic security consultant. Morning, and thank you for joining us. Well, yes, indeed, again, focusing on this matter. Well, I know they will say not that nothing is being done, but we're getting to see increasing cases that raises a lot more concern. And now we heard various cult groups almost running riot in the manner of speaking. What's the way out of all of this?
Good morning, Chamberlain, Suleiman, and Neto. I feel privileged to be with you again. The last time I was here, we talked about a town called Baga and the Phantom Massacre in Baga. And today we've had issue in Bama where the Boko Haram came in and destroyed a community in Bama and extended that to Mate. They destroyed the people of Mate. Then we've also seen a situation in Bayelsa where men and women of the Law Enforcement Agency of Nigeria were murdered cold-bloodedly. And that has also extended now to Alakio, where a deity and a cult movement called Ombase, meaning the time is here, used our military, our policemen and Department of State Security personnel as guinea pigs experiment. It is totally unacceptable. My heart goes out to the families of those that lost their life. But let me just say that we as a people have failed the law enforcement and the military agencies in this country. I say that without equivocation. The learned counsel, Falana, had talked about National Assembly bringing up laws to empower the funding of the agency. We have a 2013 budget that Ministry of Finance have only given the security agencies paltry 20% of the required funds to secure this nation. And how can you send a team of policemen to such a sensitive issue without properly equipping them? We have failed them. The media have also helped in exacerbating the hatred of the military, the law enforcement agencies, to give confidence to communities to begin to feel that the military or law enforcement agencies are game that can be killed at any given time. That is not acceptable. Before I concede to you, let me just say that we are still practicing democracy today because of the maturity being exhibited by the current crop of the military, who are highly intellectuals, who have come to accept that democracy is the only thing that can keep this country together. But we, as practitioners of the same democracy, are doing whatever it takes, whatever we can do within our own power as civilians, as politicians, to destroy the fabric of this nation and disjoint this nation. The military is tolerating that because they have come to accept that democracy is the only way forward. The military of the past would have done something different.
Let me jump in here because we'll need some clarification. If you could shed some more light on this matter. How do you mean that a paltry 20% was allocated? Because if that is the case, don't they know any better to allocate a lot more than a paltry 20% in your words? And secondly also, could you shed some light, because the media has got to report what they see and what is going on. So how does that get interpreted as portraying the military as gain?
Well, I just gave you an insider information it is well for the media to report what they see, but it will be wonderful if the media checks the information for its accuracy before reporting it. That will help. Recently, the media said that 88 policemen shot dead, and Commissioner Abayomi Akremale of Nasarawa State said that it's about 36 and counting, although some people are unaccounted for. Could it have been better for the Nigerian reader if the print media has said unspecified number of people are missing? And then when you have the proper number of people missing, you can then actuate it to the national public. Okay, I don't begrudge the media for wanting to report, but let us not be quite sensational.
All right,
now,
what about
the media in the past have pitted Nigerian military, Nigerian policemen, Nigerian Department of State Security against the populace. And the populace began to enjoy a sense of superiority over these people. We need to rebalance ourselves. At this particular point in time, I state it without equivocation. You go to the Ministry of Finance and do investigative journalism and find out how much of the budget have been given to the security agencies. I also stand corrected. Go back to the Ministry of Finance and ask, or MOD. If you remember a couple of weeks ago, the service chief sat down with the Ministry of Defense because someone in the Ministry of Defense is sitting there tinkering with their budget and putting the lives of Nigerians on harm's way. It is unacceptable.
Are you saying that 1 trillion naira budgeted for security is paltry? At least so far.
It is indeed paltry when you look at the issues at stake. You came up and we have a Minister of Interior talking about fencing the borders of Nigeria, which I thought is quite indolent. And we have issues in this country and we are yet to apply the appropriate state-of-the-art security, such as UAVs, such as helicopters, such as creating a rapid deployment force, amphibious and helicopter force for the military. We are yet to cope with the state of insecurity that we are experiencing. These things we need to put into cognizance. The standard approach to combating issues in crime in developed nation is that every policeman must have a body armor. But in this particular country, most policemen that are wearing body armor are those protecting private citizens, such as members of the National Assembly or the VIP elites, like Femi Falana. So the man who goes in on a serious operation does not have a body armor to protect himself, does not have the appropriate helmet to protect himself. He has a family, and we have failed him. National Orientation Agency at this particular point in time have also failed Nigerians. If the president is listening, I will commend him to please re-abduct the National Orientation Agency into the office of the presidency and give them the requisite support to begin to fine-tune and reorient the Nigerian mind and the Nigerian psyche. Why would a Nigerian pick up arms and kill a military man or a law enforcement agency? Something really has happened. When there was a country called Nigeria, such things would not have happened.
Let me come in here, and perhaps we should be asking some vital questions at this point in time. What would make a detachment of policemen go in a place with that huge number, and at the end of the day, well, they got the information before they got there? They say, according to news reports, correct us if we're wrong, that they were actually going out to, well, make some arrests of some of these cultists. But before they got there, they were ambushed. How does it work? How does it operate in an operation like that?
Well, I'm not going to go into full details on the fallibility of the operations or the tactics otherwise. But let me just say, from a position of an expert, when a scenario is presented, we are a nation of religion adherence, And there are many in our midst who are also, who worship deity. The people of Egon proliferate Nasarawa. These were one time mountainous people called the Egon Mada. And during the colonial era, they were brought down to the plains. You see them in Kebu, you see them in Wana, and the strategic importance of Akwanga as a rail place made commerce in that area very important. Now, what I thought in this case, since it was a joint operation between Department of State Security and the police, is that having obtained information that people were being given concussion in the mosque and in church and forcing them to swear allegiance to the deity called Ombase. The first approach, I'm quite sure they did that, they invited the Are Egon, the traditional ruler of the place, to ask questions. And remember that there are retired military personnel, retired policemen, and very terrible politicians that emanate from such area. So catchments of weapons have been detected. So the police were going in to do a combing of the area and flush out and probably capture all this catchment of arms. Where I think the police may have failed themselves in this operation is in the process of what we call embedment. In this case, the police should have had someone inside the system. They should have had inserted their own operatives couple of days or weeks department of the police. The Ministry of Police Affairs, to me, has become the political wing of police, and we don't need it. With all due apologies to the minister himself, we need to take that ministry away and give police their operational funds. The police do not have shooting ranges. The police do not have the operational kits to move around. Compare them to the Department of State Security right now, under the leadership of those who are guiding it. You see that the operational arm of the Department of State Security have become very proactive, and even the operational standard wears they put on is quite different from that of the MOPO, which is the tactical arm of the police. Now, what type of vehicles did you use to go there? We have APCs. Were you able to bring enough APC to lead the trajectory force to that? The military were supposed to be the backup force, but military never came there on time because our military, based on what the Chief of Army Staff have said time without number, are being overstretched. They are in operations in JTF in the Bayelsa area. They are in operations in the northeast of the nation, which is priority. So these are issues that you raised an important point. Proactiveness of police, having insertions in every community where we have deities, having operatives in every church, having operatives in every mosque. This used to happen during the era of Special E Branch, which was in this country. There were operatives in every facet of life of Nigeria. And they were very proactive in being able to look at issues, dissect the issue, and arrest the issue before it becomes very combustive. That is what we need to go back to. When Chinua Achebe wrote a book that there was a country, there was no pun intended. There was indeed a country called Nigeria. I lived in that country. I experienced the beauty of that country. And I want to bring that country back to Nigeria.
If we have these operatives, as you said, in every facet of life, first of all, we talk about the fact that we have over 150 million Nigerians. And we do not have enough security operatives and in terms of population. How can we have enough to be in every church, in every mosque, in every place where there's a deity, practically in every house, as the picture you're painting?
Thank you, Neto, for that question. The issue here is that when you have operatives, you have informants. From having network of informants, you have agents. And I cannot begin to declassify the manner with which these operations take place. But these are capabilities. The issue is, can government really fund it? And the answer is yes. Every state governor has what he calls security votes. And every local government chairman has his own security vote when a governor allows him to have it. And the federal government must look at the priority and say, we are going to prioritize. Look, Femi Falana espoused the idea of job creation. Shetima Ali Mongonu, we thank God he's alive, talked about creating wealth for this youth. Every governor is talking about creating jobs. How do you create jobs if you don't have power stability? We need to begin to encourage regional economic cooperations. You need to create wealth for these teeming young men. If you create wealth for them, you wouldn't have thugs protecting our pipelines. You wouldn't have armed robbers protecting the oil power flows. You have the real security agencies doing such. The government needs to come up and say, this is what we are going to do. Let me just add, without digression, that I'm slightly disappointed in Christopher Colade's-led Shopee program. I thought the money saved from Shopee should have gone into establishment of immediate refineries, immediate gas pipelines. When you're doing this, you're creating a serious position for the youth, and you're creating a
mandate given to them by those who set it up
in the nation. Instead of sharing this money along local government areas and create a non-entity called Shopee in local government issues. This government needs to be serious. They really need to be serious.
All right, Mr. Gbanite. Well, as you say, you say that, well, the establishment has got to step up their acts and do a lot. But in respect of the body armor, well, yeah, Osase also brings to our notice is that a lot of regular policemen have and actually do wear body armor. So, but we're out of time. We'll have to let it go. But we'll continue this matter at a later date. We have to thank you for coming on today, Mr. Max Gbanite, strategic security consultant, speaking with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. And can I just do one more comment, if you don't mind? The former Vice President Atiku Abubakar have likened the state of the nation to that of the Civil War. I take an exception to that. I was in that civil war. It was fought in the southeast. It was not fought anywhere else. And therefore, there is no basis for comparison. If he, with his former boss, Obasanjo, laid the right foundation for democracy, we wouldn't be where we are today. So please, we have to be very careful on our utterances. And someone like him is a great Nigerian, a potential president, and should not talk like that. Thank you, gentlemen.